Wouldn't it be great if you had a tool for commercial real estate to find deals, analyze those deals, determine who owns that property, and get their contact information, even if it's in a business name? Well, guess what? You know your boy got you. In this video, I have a tool that you're going to be able to use to do that and a lot more. So you know what you need to do is simply stand by. Let's get it.
Text me and I'll text you back.
Text me and I'll text you back.
Text me then I'll text you back.
You text me then I'll text you back.
Text me then I'll text you back.
TikTok, you don't stop.
I will help you make your paper stack.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now?
205-964-52439. You know. 205-964-52439. You know.
Hello, guys. This is Ty, aka the Flip Man, and today, we have a special guest here. I have my man Grant from Crexi. It is a commercial real estate site that provides a ton of opportunities if you know how to use it. So Grant is here to share how to use the tool. I've been using it for years and didn't know it had all these capabilities or whatever. And so a friend of mine, she turned me on to, hey, did you know Crexi could do this and that? And I said, no, I didn't know it could do that or whatever. And so long story short, she connected me with Grant, and here we are. So Grant, if you'll introduce yourself, and we'll get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me on, Ty, and I'm excited to show your followers how they can be utilizing Crexi to its fullest. Just for some background, I'm a senior account executive here on the data intelligence team at Crexi. And essentially, just for some background on Crexi in general, really we started as a marketplace with the goal of making commercial real estate accessible for everyone. So, connecting investors, connecting sellers, and investors across the country, really to get deals done faster and to give them the most data to make smart decisions and find those deals that they normally wouldn't be able to access. So excited to run through everything, with you today, Ty. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, no problem at all, man. So let's do it. Let me give you access to share your screen. So down at the bottom, you should see where it says present.
Yep.
And
Awesome.
share screen. And then
Perfect. Awesome. Let me know when you can see that. Okay. It should be the Crexi homepage here.
Yeah, boom, we're in.
Awesome. Great. Well, I guess, Ty, I'll kind of take us through, an example that some of our investors, I know Atlanta's been a hot market right now. So we'll just use that as an example. And just so everyone knows, this is all nationwide. So we're connecting people with the West Coast, the Midwest, all across to the East Coast here to find deals and be able to analyze them from anywhere. But for the sake of this example, I'll start off here just on our active marketplace side. So we'll go into, this Atlanta market. I know you said a lot of your followers, they do some single family investing and are getting more into commercial. So we'll use, multifamily as an example here as far as our asset type. But going into the Atlanta market here, the first thing that we'll want to do is narrow in and kind of see. So this is our active marketplace. This is where you can really see, any listing that is available for commercial deals. Obviously, you want to start to get more specific in your search. This is everything from you're seeing retail, multifamily, self-storage. But when you go into this all types filter here, you can really narrow this down to, hey, I just want to see multifamily for this market. So, I'll hit apply here. And what we can do is now, instead of just looking through, this is kind of what the average user would do, look through all of these listings. If you're trying to get a feel for what you should be, valuing your property at or what you should be putting offers in at, you would click onto this Insights tab here. And what this does is going to show you all of the available inventory for multifamily properties in Atlanta. And it's going to start to give you a breakdown of what those prices are going for. So I can see here, I've got the greater Atlanta area. It's going to cover everything in our map view. And I can see for all available multifamily, our median price is 1.5 million. Our price per square foot is $202. And you've got your cap rate trends as well, both in terms of what's being asked and then also what's sold in that market. So just a quick way to get an overview, if I was putting in an offer as an investor for a multifamily property, I would want to click into these insights and see what the story is in a market before, putting that in. If it's over 1.5 million for the offer you're putting in, why is that? Is it in line with the cap rates that are currently selling in that market? And is the price per unit in line with what you were going to be paying on your offer as well?
Mm. Okay. It does get into demographics also, or
Yeah, absolutely. So then this is just like kind of the basic overview of what you would want to do entering a market. As you scroll down, we have demographics of every market as well. So, this is getting everything in our map view, like I mentioned. But as you zoom in, this is going to update in real time. So if we want to get, very specific within Atlanta, and let's just say we're analyzing a deal up kind of north here in Midtown, I would even use this pencil that we have on the top right or this circle to draw a specific area around my property. So I could say, hey, I just want to see what's happening, within, let's just say 3 miles of a deal that I'm looking at. I now see exactly what my population growth is year over year for just this 3 miles. Same thing with the income level and the income growth rate in that radius. I can see the age demographics, top employment categories, and then even your housing occupancy and renter to homeowner ratios at the bottom. So just a quick way to analyze not only like the market as a whole, but once you get specific with your deal, hey, I just want to see what's going on within these 3 miles. And we'll still update your metrics at the top here. So you can see 2 million is actually your median multifamily price within this 3 mile radius.
Yeah.
Your price per square foot updated. Cap rates at a 3.6 for what's being asked there. And you can see what happened to your price per unit down here as well. You're at 282K.
Yeah. So just to simplify that, guys, like if you found a property, we'll just say it was a 10 unit, but you could basically get it at a 100K per unit. It's using a ridiculous number. You're getting a smoking deal, right? Probably even if it needs total renovations or something, because it's probably not going to cost that much to renovate each unit. So just to show how important that price per unit is there once you just zone into a particular area within the market, because the entire market is going to take a snapshot of everything. But if you're trying to be a little bit more specific to like here, within 3 miles of the property that you're targeting, then it's going to really break down those numbers. So,
yep, exactly. So really easy to just break that down, both in terms of those offering prices for the price per unit and cap rate. Then you can even see like the median year built for those buildings. And obviously, like we covered, all the demographics for that area. Another cool thing about this, and once you've drawn a radius, let's just say like this 2.7, this is a 7-unit multifamily property here. If you were analyzing this property and you're not from Atlanta, you're investing out of state, you might want to see what's around that property. So we do have this points of interest tab. It's when you click this top box here, the 4th one down. And what you can do on the points of interest is type in, anything that you would see on Google to map out, what's around your property. So I'll zoom back in a little bit for us here so we can see that 2.7 again. And we'll just start, if you're investing in multifamily or single family, you want to know what schools are around, or are there good schools around your property? You can type in that keyword and we're going to show you where they're located at in comparison to that property. So you'd be able to see off the bat here, right next door, you do have 2, elementary schools within, that 3 mile radius. Looks like walking distance to your property.
Nice.
Aside from that, you'd also be able to type in, we've got everything from banks, restaurants. A lot of people swear by being near like a Starbucks or a Target, anything that you might want to be around for your investment criteria. You can map that out and start to overlay that onto your, radius here.
And that's and thinking of terms of when you're trying to evaluate a property and what points of interest may be. Helps to make a decision for you. But and I guess we'll get into it a little later. But it also you can use this same method to identify potential. Like if you were trying to find a buyer for like a multifamily property that you had or whatever, you could possibly see what other activity has been in that same radius if you wanted to, if I'm thinking correctly, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. So this same radius, and we'll move over to that on the comp side.
Hmm.
So just right now, we're on the for sale, which if you look
Okay.
in the top left corner,
Okay.
this is going to be everything that's actively, listed. When
Yeah.
we switch, oh yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I don't want to get ahead of us. I'll
Yeah,
let
yeah.
you hang on.
No,
We'll get back to that.
no worries. But yeah, that will be on the comps, that third drop down. So I'm excited to show that as well. The next thing, really quick before I dive in, I am going to show kind of how we source some off market deals and find some ownership information on these properties. But the last thing to note on, this drop down here is that aside from just looking at like the numbers on the demographics, we make it really easy if you're looking out of state or trying to find a new market, just to understand, where the population is located at and where the income levels are at. So clicking on this, population overlay, it's going to tell you right now by zip code. You can get more specific if you zoom into the screen. Where are the people located at in this market? So the darker the red, there's 65,000 people in this zip code here,
Mm,
versus a yellow color is going to immediately tell me, okay, only 29,000, about a third of the people in that zip code.
interesting.
So, really easy to kind of just map that out. If you want to be in a higher density area, you can at least start your search with, a red area on the map there.
Nice.
Yeah. And you can also do the same thing with income. So if we switch over and do our income overlay, essentially this will be a similar concept. The darker the green is going to be the higher income. So you can see almost
Mm,
170,000 up top here in the north part of Atlanta.
mm,
Versus, when you get into a bluer area, that's going to show you a lower income in comparison. So you'll start to get down as you get to the darker blue within this key here.
mm. Interesting.
Yeah. And then kind of the last overlay before I get into the ownership and the parcel level information. This is more for like self-storage or retail investors, but we do have traffic counts. So you're actually able to click in and you can see exactly how many vehicles pass by these points per day. Some people, for self-storage, for example, they want more exposure on their property. They might put in a range down here and say, hey, I only want to see dots with at least 20,000 vehicles that pass by per day. And they'll apply that to this overlay so that now we're only looking at dots on the screen with over, 20,000.
Nice.
From there, obviously, you can click into each point. You can see, the amount of vehicles there and what street that is as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I will dive into, the parcel level information. This is a lot of our users' favorite part, really, to be able to just zoom into the screen here and get more information on any property. We have it on both residential and commercial. So we want to make sure that if you're looking at a property, or even if you were walking down the street, you can use this on your phone too. You would be able to click into any parcel and understand all the information around it, as well as who owns it and their contact information. So all of these black outlines, they'll lead into property records. All you do is hover over one, click view property record. And I've got one pulled up here. Let me know if you can see that switch over.
Oh yeah.
Cool. So this is what the information will have when you click into a parcel record. We're telling you, this example is just a household. Obviously, like I said, we've got it on every property nationwide, so commercial as well. But you'll be able to see, the zoning and the square footage. Here's the aerial view of the property you clicked on. All of the lot details, the parcel square footage versus the actual building square footage that's on it. And then scrolling down, as I mentioned, we will have full ownership history on these properties. So you can always click in. It's always hyperlinked. And we'd be able to skip trace through. Doesn't matter if it's an LLC or not. here's that owner, and we'll even give you an accuracy score on that phone number as well. So just a quick way to go in, source contact information for any property that you might have interest in. Scrolling down on this too, we will have the tax history on any parcel. We even have a valuation calculator down below here where you can put in the numbers of your purchase and see, what that cash flow is going to be. And then at the bottom, we will have foot traffic. So essentially you can see, what the percentage of change in foot traffic, positive or negative for that property is. Are people migrating to the area? Are people moving away? This will show you a kind of a detailed report, both monthly and annual, on those trends. And then at the bottom, just to cover all your bases too, make sure that you know the risks you could be getting into. We'll have climate factors of the area, so you can see, what flood risk might be around the property, and fire risk as well for a FEMA report.
Okay. Question now. So this was a house we're looking at right here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If we're trying to identify, you would just say multifamily, right? Is it a filter that could be applied when we're looking at the parcels
Yep.
that would identify those?
Yeah. And so the best way to get into that, and this is a good time to switch back over to our comps here.
Okay.
The best way to get into that, and I'll zoom out a little bit here, is to switch up top. We have right now listed multifamily properties, but when I hit this third drop down and then I can select multifamily again, this is going to show us all that multifamily in the area. We've got, sales comps dating back to the 1960s. So we're pulling everything that's closed, in the market, obviously from public records in the counties, but also everything that sells on the Crexi marketplace. So what we can do here is go in, I'll click back into our multifamily example and hit apply. And now, instead of just looking at the parcels and clicking through each one, you've got 7,000 results here just in this area that are all multifamily properties. And we even have all the details on when they sold, who they sold to, and how much they sold for as well.
Okay.
So
can't you up there where it says any close date, you can somewhat manipulate how long that transaction may have occurred
Yep.
ago? Yeah.
100%. So like the way I always explain it is, if you're looking to like analyze a deal, obviously you want more recent comps. So we've got this drop down here, and you could say, hey, I just want to see comps that have closed in the last year for multifamily. And you would plug in your relevant filters, and you could even put in your price range for that search. If you just wanted to see between 500,000 and $1 million, make it relevant for you. But if you're looking more for like the off market aspect, what a lot of people do is click into our all filters tab here and go into that custom, closing timeline and say, hey, I want to see people who have owned these properties for at least, 10, 20 years. You can put in your max date there, and you can start to pull a list of properties that have at least been owned for whatever date you want to put in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
From there, once you have that list, all of our information is, exportable. So we've got this page here, with 100 results. If I wanted to start creating a list of these properties, I would just click into this top checkbox and press export, which takes you straight into an Excel sheet that's going to be a full inventory report with those properties. So you're not clicking through each one individually, essentially.
Nice.
Let me pull that over for us real quick as well. And can you see that okay on the Excel?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So this is going to show us off the bat, here's an inventory report. You can see all these sales. They're all multifamily sales. You can see the addresses. We'll have a full inventory report on what they sold for, all those closing prices. You can scroll through. And then what's nice is that we've got an ownership tab where now you've got a list of all owners of these properties. A lot of people like to edit this, start to kind of get specific and create a list for themselves.
Yes.
And
that's a potential way to create a buyer's list too, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
However you want to kind of use this information, we're providing you, with that Excel sheet and with all the data to create that. And then we also will have, financing information. So a lot of people like to see, what lenders are giving out loans in the market that they're looking at, and what properties might have loans that are maturing, in the next year or two. You can already see here, we've got a term of 1, 2 here. These loans are maturing, within the next year here. So kind of a way to also source some off market deals or see who might be open to a conversation when they come to that financing.
Wow. It's powerful info. If you know how to
Yeah.
if you know how to use it, it's some powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing, just I wanted to show you as well. So like when you're putting in offers and you want to start actually analyzing these comps, I pulled up a couple examples here. So this is a 10 unit, and this is an example of a comp that we'll have on Crexi. So you can see here, this sold on Sunset Ave in Atlanta. This one sold just about a little over a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it was a 10 unit built in 1955. Here's all the asking details that were on that property versus, what it sold for, what that cap rate was, and that price per unit of 130K.
Mm.
So, what I would do if I was putting in an offer in a market, I would want to go in. I would probably draw that same radius where we could see, hey, I want to see what's happening within just a few miles of my property. Oh, I'll load that one more time here for us. And then I would go in and start to really narrow down my search to view the comps that are relevant for my search. So if you were looking at putting in an offer on a 10 unit, you could always go into our filters and say, hey, I just want to see properties that closed in the last year that are, between the 8 to 12 unit range, and kind of see where you should formulate your offer and where you should have expectations for the cap rate from there.
Nice.
We'll also show you, just like on the comps in general, all the investment highlights and the history of that property. So you're able to kind of see, how that's transacted in the past, the different times it's been listed. Same thing as the parcels. We will give you the ownership information on those properties. And then you can even see, like we had in that Excel sheet, when that last mortgage was executed and the amount they got as well.
Nice. There's a lot of info, man.
Yeah.
I did not know this site did this. That's amazing, man. I just been blown away waking up in the middle of the night looking at stuff, man. It's been amazing.
It's definitely powerful, and it's something where we're always improving this. So people like yourself, Ty, that are using it every day. We take feedback on what investors are wanting to see, and our product team is always looking at ways to make this information more accessible and just more effective, for everyone to analyze deals too.
Most definitely.
One more comp that I had pulled up, just relevant to like the 9 to 10 unit search range. This is another property. This one sold just about 6 months before the last one, end of 2019. Here you can see it was a 9 unit, built 3 years later, 1958. And this one, you can see it sold for 1.22 million with a cap rate of 6.59%, and you can see what that price per unit was here as well. So typically people will want to check out, within an area you're looking at, pull 3 miles, and let's look at, some relevant comps before putting in an offer. Make sure that I'm getting the best deal here as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Could you could we look at well, I'll let you continue the presentation, then I'll get to some questions.
No, absolutely. I'm kind of ready to dive in. Anything else that you wanted to see specifically? I'll kind of wrap it up with just like one more piece that we have after.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So just talking in general about land.
Yeah.
What because I know it pulls all types of land no matter what the zoning is for.
Mhm.
say if we wanted to get out a little outside of Atlanta,
Mhm.
one of the out the layer counties that what is Fulton is the main county there. So some of the counties that still make up the MSA for Atlanta. If we want to look for, we'll just say land tracts of 10 acres or more.
Mhm.
And I don't know, let me pick a county that I know. I think it's a Gwinnett County or whatever.
Let's see here. You said Gwinnett County?
Yeah, I think it's spelled GW
Mm.
Inteeet. I think. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, you had to go back.
Got
GWEN.
it.
There it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So we'll dive in here. Yeah, like I said, it's all obviously nationwide, so you can boundary, any specific area.
Yeah,
If
I
you
like
wanted to just
exactly
look,
what I'm talking about right there. Yeah.
yeah, okay, perfect. So if you wanted to just look for land that's available here, you would just go straight into our all types here. And land is actually, one of the more transacted assets on Crexi. So we've got great inventory for land here as well.
Good.
You can see here, we really break it down for you as well. And you can just hit apply there, kind of just, similar to what we did with multifamily. And, this is going to show you everything in terms of what we have for these land listings.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to get more specific and go in, you said a minimum of like, 10 acres or however you want to break this down,
Mm-hmm.
we could, get more specific and targeted with that search. And we're now showing you the results for just over 10 acres of land here. So you really got a specific list of these properties to start targeting.
Nice. Okay.
You can also, just like the Excel sheet on the comp side, all of this is exportable. So if you wanted to start to build a list, hey, these are 22 properties that I want to target here,
Mm-hmm.
over 10 acres in our county, you could export that as well, start to build that list. And you could even start to analyze, the offer that you should be putting in this market directly on here just by clicking the insights.
Yeah, and this is a great way if okay, so that's for sale. So if we want to try to comp
Hmm.
some of the land,
Yeah.
you have a lot of activity on it, so you should have some good comps too. Then,
Yeah, exactly. So you'll start off, hey, this is what's happening actively in the market. Price per acre is 184K, and
mm,
3 million is our median asking price for over 10 acres in this county. But then you would just hit that drop down, just like we did on, the other side here with multifamily, and you could go straight back into your land comps and see
so
what the relevant transactions have been.
select only ag and residential on the land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That'll
Okay.
get us a
Boom.
little more specific here, and then we could go back in, see what we have marked
10
under
acre.
that.
Okay. Yeah, you got to go back and put the filter. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
So now we're starting to get, really targeted here. So these are all
Mm,
recent sales that happened, over 10 acres
mm-hmm.
for just our residential and agricultural land here.
Okay.
Same thing where you can make this list if you wanted to start analyzing all of these comps, pull open your Excel sheet and really dive into the full inventory of them, or go back into that insights tab and see what those medians are for the price per acre historically there.
Wow. Okay. 22,000 per acre. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And this is again, so our comps obviously they're dating back. I think the earliest comps are like the 1960s here. So this
Mm-hmm.
is going to show you, historically what's
Yeah.
happened. If you
Yeah.
want to always get more specific, what's happening in the market, just more recent, you
Yeah.
could narrow down that close date, see what that
38,000.
starts to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the last, 2 years, you could make it just 1 year and really get, specific and kind of targeted with this report that you're pulling.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
And of course, if you'll show them like if you on over here on the map, if you select one of those prices, it pulls up the info on a particular property that's sold, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So if you like zoomed into the map here and you wanted to hover over any, one of these, you can
Hmm.
see exactly how many acres it is, what it sold for. So we can click in. Here's a 13 acre here that sold on Sweet Gum Road. You can click in and just like those multifamily comps, we're going to show you, the details on that sale when it transacted. So you can actually see, this one sold November 29th of 2021. We're going to show you all the information on the subtype of that land, the zoning. Here's that sale price. And this is hilarious. You can see the full history of this property back to 1998. This sold for $88,000 back in 1998 here.
Wow. Okay.
And then that most recent sale of 2.628 in November of 2021.
Mhm. Okay, you see the ownership information there.
Yep, same thing as the parcels. We'll give that ownership information on all these properties. So another way, if you were just looking for land deals and trying to source that, you could look at who's been buying land in the last year and start to target all these owners in your list as well.
Wow, nice. So if you just wanted to search for, how would you suggest to search for off market, we'll say the tracks 10 acres or more?
Yeah, so essentially like in this list, I would go back to my results. I would start to go maybe more historical with it, unless you're wanting to target like recent buyers.
No,
But you
no,
could,
no, no. Not who's buying, but if I was trying to find an off market 10 tracker, 10 acres or more.
right. So yeah, you could go, buy the date sold here.
Hmm.
The two ways would really be to target this information based off of, how long have they owned that property. So you can
Hmm.
see here, this list now, you've got 1994 on here up until the early 2000s. So
Okay,
you
nice.
might want to start off with this list. Hey, these people have owned this property for, over 20 years here.
Hmm.
Click back into that export that we had up earlier for multifamily. And this time you're just going to have, all these landowners essentially in your inventory report.
Nice.
So you'll have that same thing where you get, all the details on these sales, the full inventory report there. And then you can see on the far right where we've got that ownership information and the zoning on every one of these properties.
Hmm.
So go back in, see a list of those owners, start to add your own columns here.
Hmm.
And, finally also seeing some of the financing that they had on these, if any have loans maturing in the coming years as well.
Okay. In the non-disclosure states, if it didn't, even if the property wasn't a listing of you all's, because you all have everything here. So does it
Mhm.
still pull the sales information? And like,
Yeah, we still have full coverage in all non-disclosure states. Obviously, everyone has to work a little harder for that information,
hmm,
but that's why, for our comps, we have 4 different sources that we leverage. So it's not just relying on, deals that close on Crexi. It's really relying on our third-party data providers as well and the mortgage information. So we still have full coverage on those. We just leverage our third-party providers, our brokers that we work with on Crexi, and a lot of the financing as well to make sure that we have full coverage.
okay. If you wanted
Yeah.
to dive into like, okay, you showed us how to pull up the list based on previous sales and how long they've owned it on the land here.
Hmm.
But if we want to like use the map to sort of see like, if we could look at, where the land is positioned, is it landlocked? Does it have road access? How would you suggest doing that if you were just going to try to that's a more of a manual way of doing it, but sometimes that can be very beneficial too because now you'll target exactly what you're looking for. Like we were in
Yeah.
Gwinnett County before.
Oh, yep.
So how would you suggest doing that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something where obviously you're going to want to still do full due diligence like of these properties once you
Hmm.
click in, but we're going to at least show you all the information like on the parcel, and we have a good like Google map view here as well. So if you're going into any one of these properties, let's just say you wanted to target something here on New Hope Road, you would be able to go in and actually click on our satellite view as well.
Hmm.
And what this is going to do is show you kind of the current like actual, Google Earth view. You can see this one's actually been developed, but you
Hmm.
would be able to really kind of visualize that property. This is really
Yeah,
nice if you're out of state,
correct.
see what's around it, use those insights to honestly like start to analyze the demographics, see if the population is growing and the income levels are where you want them to be
Hmm.
around that property. And then also kind of like we had discussed earlier, always using, your points of interest to see, what's around it and what you want to be near.
Yeah,
with that
traffic,
property as well.
population, and all that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you can just basically just move the map around and see if you can find large tracts. And as you said, with the satellite view, you can see if
Yep.
there's a structure on there or not. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you can go through here, and a lot of people, we've added this to our mobile app as well. So a lot of people will even be like walking, they'll see a parcel of land or they'll see an old building that they're interested in. All you have to do is click into these black lines to see who the owner is and get all of that property record information. So we
Mm,
make it really easy. Just, make sure that you're armed with, the most information on these properties and the market around it.
nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That. Wow. Um, look at this one right here to the left. I mean, to the right of you, right there. It's a bigger track. You had it on there to the
Hmm.
right of. It's right there. Come down a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah.
The next one over.
Got it.
It's the
Okay.
big. It's
Oh
the
yeah,
big.
over here on the right side.
That one there. Yeah. How
Yeah.
many acres is that?
Yeah, let's see here. So this one is
Okay,
279,000
yeah.
square feet right here.
So what is
And
that?
you can already see, this one's actually owned by the city here.
By the
So that's
city. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so that's an interesting one. We can
Mm.
always view the property record too. So yeah, here's off
See
the
that
bat, you're
one?
gonna see
Yeah.
that zoning. Here's that aerial view. The zoning would be used right here. It's telling you for multifamily residence, so that's a residential zoning.
Okay.
You got the tax history on that property. It's owned by the city there.
Yep.
Again, your valuation calculator, and then all those metrics around it to see. This one
Nice.
actually does have a flood risk, so you can
Mhm.
see where that flood risk is and the
So the
traffic.
higher the score, so it goes up to what, 10?
Yep, it's out of 10. So
Okay.
we partner with Risk Factor, and they show you that over a 30-year period, and you
Hmm.
can always click in to get the full report by them as well.
Got you.
Yeah.
Man, we can go for days.
I
We-
know. Once you start, it's hard to stop. You can just keep looking at different properties.
I wish we would have set it up where we could see the app view. Also, maybe we'll do that on a different one.
Yeah.
Because that can be so useful when you're actually out in the field looking at whatever you're looking at, and you can use the app to identify stuff. So we may do another one on that, just for the app version of it, or you're
Yeah.
sitting in the airport and you want to search stuff, while you're waiting or whatever. So
100%. We should definitely do that. In the meantime, I mean, anyone can go to the Crexi app. It's in the App Store on Apple there, so anyone can download that and kind of start playing around with it, at least on the marketplace side.
so it's not Android, just Apple currently.
No, they have it for Android as well, so
Okay.
it is both.
Okay. Cool.
And
Uh,
I guess just one thing to point out, Ty. So everything that we've gone through, obviously, and I know we have gone through all the tools together. We have our open marketplace, where you can really look at these deals, and then this is all part of our Crexi intelligence, platform for the paid members looking to get access to all the information here as well.
Okay. And just speaking of that, so if you're interested in that, to accessing the tool, you can reach out to Grant. We'll have his information here on the screen, where you can contact him on pricing, because the service is so unique or whatever and is ever changing. They just want to, make the best offer to my following for sure. So you'll have an opportunity to reach out to him directly to get pricing on the tool. That, as you can see, it can make you a significant amount of money if you use it, because the opportunities are endless with this much data, and the way it's made simple for you to be able to either find a property, analyze a property, or a combination of both, or I guess even in the future with a broker sell a property. So anything else you want to share, Grant, before we close out?
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to connect with some of your followers. But yeah, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can help everyone, access these deals faster and, be analyzing the market.
All right, guys. We really appreciate Grant sharing his time with us. Let me stop the sharing here. Where is it? Remove. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, boom. So really appreciate it, man. I couldn't wait till we did this. Gave me a few more ways to look at the tool. I've been using it And I see some other ways that that we can use it to definitely, like we're spending a lot of time on land, how to number one, find potential deals, but also research potential pricing as far as comps, and also even buyers. So again, we appreciate Grant sharing his tremendous knowledge and Crexi with us. And as I always like to say, guys, we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks, Ty.
Text me and I'll text you back.
Text me, and I'll text you back.
Text me, then I'll text you back.
You text me, then I'll text you back.
Text me, then I'll text you back.
TikTok, you don't stop.
I will help you make your paper stack.
Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now?
205-964-5243, now you know. 205-964-5243, now you know.